If you need to look for a new driving instructor, never blame your old driving instructor. It's a massive red flag, and I'm going to show you exactly why, even if it was their fault. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share tips, I'm going to share scripts with you that you can use to actually send to these driving instructors. Right now, trying to find a driving instructor feels absolutely impossible. We know the demand is just rocketed. It's a bit like trying to apply to Oxford University, you know? You've got to do it, but you know your chances of getting in are pretty slim unless you really stand out. It's a bit like that trying to get a driving instructor at the moment. I am going to offer you a solution. I'm going to show you how we can get around this and how we can get you on the road learning to drive. And to do this, we're going to learn how a driving instructor actually thinks. What are they after? What's going through their minds? And I know these things work because they work on me. I've been in this job for over 5 years now. I've had to actually take on an assistant to deal with my diary because I really struggle to say no when people do these things on me. So first of all, why is there a shortage? Well, I think one of the biggest reasons is becoming a driving instructor is really tough. Costs well over 2K, takes well over 12 months, and it only has a pass rate of 33%. Yeah, you thought your driving test was bad, try becoming an instructor. To make matters even worse, if you fail that test 3 times, you are kicked out, wham bam, thank you ma'am, see you later, banned for 2 years. So as you can see, it's bottleneck after bottleneck of trying to become a driving instructor. It's pretty tough. Then on top of that, think how hard it is to get a driving test now. Well, try getting an examiner for your driving instructor driving test. That is hard. And obviously this has happened since COVID, where we've just gathered more and more learners, and for 12 months, for at least 12 months, no learner could learn to drive, which created a huge backlog. On top of that, you had COVID, which scared the crap out of everyone, rightly so. So anyone that was on the cusp of thinking, should I retire this year, next year, in the next 5 years? They're gone, see you later, out of here. So there we go, we lost a whole bunch of instructors on top. And that's why we got a shortage. And now we're having to turn people away left and right. And it is frustrating. I've got a guy on Facebook at the moment, lives round the corner, Andrew, trying to get his daughter Amber in for lessons. I'm saying, I want to get you in, I want to get you in. I've had to say to my assistant, listen, can we get this guy in? He's saying, no. Do you want to work Saturdays? No? Okay, and I'm like, But anyway, moving on. That's a story for another day. So what does this mean for instructors? Well, it means that we have absolutely massive demand. It then means instructors can be picky about who they take on. And they're going to have packed diaries, doesn't matter who they take on, they're going to have packed diaries 24 hours, 7 days a week. And they still wouldn't keep up with the number of learners. So as a business owner, yay! As someone learning to drive, really sucks, guys. So let's get on to the juicy bit. How can we give ourselves the best possible chances of getting that learner slot? And to do that, we're going to figure out, what does a driving instructor want from you? And I can tell you straight away, from my personal experience, the worst part of my job is dealing with messages. After all, I'm a driving instructor. I teach people to drive. I don't like playing secretary. And yes, I know it comes part and parcel of the job. You just got to do it. But if I can avoid it, I will. Or if there's something that I'm not going to do that's going to go at the bottom of the list, it's going to be those. And if I do that, I can promise you a lot of other driving instructors are going to do that as well. And after all, in this day and age, you got TikTok, you got Prime. What is the most important thing to people now? Speed. Driving instructors want all of the information as quickly as possible in as short a number of messages as possible, because after all, they could receive anywhere between 10, 20 plus messages per day. If they're going to have to backwards and forwards with one message when they've got all the information of a different message, who do you think they're going to choose? So the most important thing is that you get all of that clear information in the first message to maximize your chances of getting that slot. The first thing you're going to want to make sure you include in the message is your location. The driving instructor is going to want to know if you are within their vicinity, their area of cover. The next thing you want to make sure you include is your availability. Obviously, the more flexible you are, the better it's going to be, but just make sure you include it. There's no point hiding it. It's going to save you a lot of time. You can move on if you need to. It's going to save them a lot of backwards and forwards time. It's going to give you a higher chance of getting that slot. Make sure you include if you want manual or automatic. I've had a few embarrassing situations. I'll share one of those stories later. And then what experience have you got? Are you a brand new fresh beginner? Have you got some experience, 10, 20 hours? Any information you can give to them about this is going to help the situation. Here's an example of a message I got recently. Hi Josh, I'm after lessons for my daughter Amber. She failed her practical test just before Christmas. Not going to tell you who with, but I had no confidence in her instructor. I've checked online and your reviews look good. We are in Barlaston and looking to get booked in and a test ASAP. That's a pretty clear message, isn't it? Told me the location, told me exactly what her experience is. She must be test ready. or close to. He's mentioned my reviews, bigging me up a little bit. I feel good. Yeah, I like this guy. And he's told me when he wants to start as soon as possible. What did he miss? When are they available? Luckily, I was in a good mood, so I did reply. Here are some things you really want to avoid saying when messaging driving instructors. And as I said, the first and most important one is don't blame your previous instructor. And the main reason for that is because we've all been that previous instructor. What I mean is if I'm teaching a student and they decide to go and book their test, when I know full well that they are not safe on the road, but they insist they want to go for that test, I can't take them. And when I say to them, I'm not going to be able to take you for your test because you're not actually ready, and they take the hump with that, and then they start texting other instructors saying, my instructor let me down. That's not going to look good. That's a big red flag to all the other driving instructors you're messaging that something might be wrong here. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are plenty of cases where it is the driving instructor's fault, but it's not a good conversation starter. It's baggage that you can talk about and discuss with the driving instructor once you've actually got the slot. The next one is unrealistic test requests. No instructor in the right mind is going to take you for a test in a week. When they've never met you, they've no idea how you can drive. So try and avoid unrealistic test requests. It shows lack of preparation, desperation. Why haven't you got a driving instructor but you've got your test in 10 days? What's that about? Next one that's quite frustrating, as I say, is lack of specification. I need lessons. You free? It's going in the bin. I haven't got time. I'm too busy. And you've made no effort. If you can't be bothered to actually message me with a full sentence, then I can't be bothered to reply. Be careful of being overconfident. I'm already a good driver. I just need someone to lend me their car to sit on the test. That's not going to get you anywhere. No instructor in the right mind is going to feel safe in that situation. It's a big warning sign. You're also closing yourself off to learning. You're saying, I know everything. Well, okay. Hire a freaking car then. Not saying everyone, but lots of instructors they consider themselves quite professional. They're not going to appreciate unprofessional language. Yo, mate, got any slots? Maybe once you get to know them, just keep that in mind. And the most important thing is keep away from complicated backstories. Don't get me wrong, a story is really, really good. And that's going to make or break your whole message. But a complicated negative backstory, that's not so good. Like loads of excuses and negativity, try and stay away from it. But on that now, we are going to touch on a good story because this is really important. This is what makes me so freaking busy where I've had to get an assistant because I can't say no to a really good story. So here's an example of a bad story. Hi, I need lessons. My instructor let me down. I've got my test in 2 weeks. But I'm ready, I promise. Can you fit me in? Why it's bad? Well, as an instructor, you just gain experience, you gain wisdom, you've seen this pattern far too many times. It's too difficult to trust. Here's a good story example. Hi, my name's Josh. I was learning with another instructor, but they've recently retired. I've had about 20 hours of experience. I am quite a confident driver, but I need some help with my maneuvers. I'm looking for manual lessons, and I'm really flexible. Do you have any availability? It's clear, it's detailed, it shows flexibility, and it shows commitment. Okay, fine, let's get on to some scripts for what you can actually send the driving instructor. I've done 3 different examples for you. They're going to be in the description below. Have a look. There's somewhere there. Going to quickly break one down for you, point out the important parts, then you can make your own or you can just use one of these, whatever works best for you. So this one is what I call the humour script. So what's important in this first sentence? Well, first of all, we've got your name. Then we've got that we've done some research. We've looked at your website. We've looked at your reviews. We've also got a little bit of humour across, showing that we're a nice, easygoing person. Then we've said straight away if we're manual or automatic, that's nice and clear, that's sorted. And then we've got our flexibility. Now that's really important because that's going to make and break whether you get a slot or not. We've mentioned what our previous experience is, so we know straight away where you are. And on top of that, we've also mentioned specifically what you need support with. This means you're open to learning, and it means you're actually listening and recognizing where you need help. And then finally, you've mentioned space or a cancellation spot. This is showing someone that really, really wants to get going as soon as possible. Then again, at the end, we've got a touch of humor, nice friendly banter, plus you're bigging up the driving instructor, and you're being really polite with it. This message would make me want to reply. If someone's gone to all the effort to write that, I am far more likely to reply to it than someone that's shown no effort at all. Now, there are 2 more scripts included with that below as well, so feel free to have a look at those. Just to give you one more example, this one really stood out for me. This was over a year ago. This is how much it stood out because I've still remembered it and I've taught hundreds of people since then. This guy's called Omar. He said, nice to speak to you on the phone. Josh, my name's Omar. I'm based in Stone. I'm looking for manual instruction. I'm taking my driving theory test tomorrow. I'd like to begin driving as soon as possible. If you're available in November, this would work for me. I've had some driving lessons 4 years ago, but too long ago and too little lessons to feel any confidence in my driving. Please feel free to call if you'd like to chat some more, and do let me know if you have a date in mind for when you might be available to start in November. And of course, because I was rammed and I was trying to do it all on my own, I ignored him, not intentionally. A week later, hello Josh, hope you're well. My full name's Omar Habib. Please let me know if you have any availability in the diary to book any 2-hour lessons. I'd be keen to start as soon as possible. Happy to pay for lessons promptly. If you're available, please let me know. So, he's messaged again. That's really important. And then he must have called me 6-7 times every 2-3 days. Not in a rude way, just in a Josh just reminding you. I really respected that. That showed commitment. That showed someone that was really wanting to get things done. And that's the people I want to work with. So that's my final tip. If you really, really want to get going, keep calling if you need to. Very polite. Keep messaging if you need to. Very polite. Just gentle reminders. They're not ignoring you because they don't like you. They're ignoring you because they're really, really busy. So to summarize, be polite. Be clear, be honest. Avoid rushing and don't make any excuses. Then take some action. Start calling some people. Use these scripts. Let me know, how do they work? And you're far more to succeed at anything in life if you do it with someone else. So if you've got a friend who's also struggling to find an instructor, share this with them. Do it together. You're both far more likely to find an instructor if you do that. I am Josh, a driving instructor, and I will see you all soon. Boom.